Good afternoon, Shaggy SoCal with 2Old4Forza, and stand by. I need to reset the mic. Oh, wait, hang on. I actually have to do a little more setup here. I'm going to pause for a second, and let's just go ahead and do this. So, okay. Sorry, there's a longer checklist now for me to get ready. So hang on a second. I'm going to reset the mic on the headset, and then we'll get started. 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, hopefully I'm back. All right, it just again learning lessons from last week. It seemed that starting a party, um, streaming through Twitch and like that seemed to resolve the the intermittent audio issues that I've been having the last couple of weeks. So we'll try it again. I just forgot to set up the party, so I just did that really quick. Reset the mic. So hopefully my mouth motion is matching the audio. We'll see how that goes in the stream. But let's start again. Hey, Shaggy SoCal from 2Old4Forza. So we're heading into week 3 in the season in the Ferrari. I always forget, is it the 312B? 312 T2. I'm thinking the B from the Mazda, getting all my cars confused. So this week for week 3, we're taking our Germany swing. First race is at Hockenheim. The second race is the Nordschleife, and that's going to be its whole own thing there. So what I'll do is, again, standard format. I'm just going to go run a couple of laps, talk a little bit, then I'll probably do a slow and a quote unquote track walk. Just kind of point out the things that I'm noticing with this car, what it seems to want. To be able to get around get around the track without too much difficulty or without it biting you. Then I'm going to run a mock race, just to get myself some practice, put myself in some racing situations, and watch my questionable racecraft. So let's go ahead and get the test drive started. Okay, turn 1, threading a needle. I think ideally you want to try and use a little bit of that inside curving. I'm not going to commit to full throttle until I've got the car out on the left side. Heading down the next turn, looking for the green, just before the green access road, second gear. I will take a slightly different line than what is being suggested, because that inside curving can pitch the car, can pitch the back end out if you hit it wrong. Heading down to the hairpin. Braking right at the beginning of the curving. Down to second gear. Don't lose sight of that inside curving. Big crank of the wheel. Slowly roll back into the throttle. Again, not really committing to full throttle until I get the car straight. Take this one flat out. You could probably use a little more curving than I just did there. This will be a second or third gear corner, depending on your preference. This is definitely third. Roll back into the throttle. Play a little chicken with the wall, but where the wall meets the track is where I'm going to brake. A little bit late there, but we'll salvage the second half of it. Brake just as you get to the end of the tires on the right side. Third gear, you could probably do this in second. I'll do a second lap here and breathe the throttle there. Still in third. Brake as you get to the end of the inside road there on the right side. Stay in third gear. Don't use that much of the curving. Roll back onto the front stretch. A little bit of wheel spin as I get back to the throttle. Let's do one more lap. A little shallow. That's going to be the hardest turn, I think, for all of us to get consistently. Second gear. And you can just get your left side tires on the inside of the corner. And again, for this hairpin, I really don't think you should do it in first, but then here's why. because if you're not careful on the throttle, it's again, because it's so high up in the rev range, it's really easy to get the back tires to spin up and then you start losing control. So I think second gear for the hairpin is what's going to be best. We've got a second gear, short shift up to third, quick tap of the brakes, roll the car in, roll back into the throttle. Drop it to third this time. Drop to third. The car still just has that little bit of understeer until it grips up. Now you can do the stadium here section in second gear if you want. Whoops, nope. Stay in third. Getting my gearing confused. All right, so that's just kind of 2 quick laps around. So let's break this down a little bit more. So you're going to be down here. See, this is where, all right, hang on a second. Because so much of this, so much of this falls into the, they have like the 4 boxes of like unknown unknowns, known knowns, unknown knowns, and known unknowns. This sometimes falls into the unknown knowns. It's the stuff you just know, but you don't consciously think about. So a lot of times I don't consciously think about what gear I'm in when I'm running laps, unless I think something's off. So you have 5th gear. Okay, I just need to remember what gear am I in as I'm getting to turn 1, as I'm trying to do the slow track walk here. So let's resume from here. So really, the things I'm looking for, it's not what I wanted. I'm out of practice. All right, resume from here. Okay, I wanted to back it up, reverse. So things I'm looking for. There's no, the way this car and the pace that we're running, I'm not seeing any static reference aside from the 100 board that I can use if I can't see the braking line. So it is right about there. There are other cars that we've been in where you can almost start braking where the curb begins. We can actually brake a little bit deeper than that. So it is about the 100 board. 5th gear, I'm going to drop it down to 4th as I put it back into 1st. Excuse me, as I'm braking for turn 1, I'm trying to get my eyes on the curbing to see if I can spot the apex. Where I'm releasing the curbing or releasing the curbing. Where I'm releasing the brakes is right as you pass the 50 board, kind of right as you're getting to the end of the curbing here on the left side. That's where I'm going to be releasing the brake and turning in 4th gear. So this is threading the needle, and I'm probably, like in this example, the slowdown, I'm probably turned in a little earlier than I should be. But ideally, you do want to use a little bit of the inside curbing if you can. I would stay off. I would stay off the orange, because at that point, then you're risking getting a time penalty or doing track limit violations. But if you do it right, you're going to use a little bit of the inside curbing. There is a little bit, here I'm going to, after learning a little bit about how, in the last Forza Monthly, how Forza 7, how they treat curbing, and that it's not really modeled, but they do like noise. There is a bit of noise on this inside curbing a little bit, but not so much that it's going to pitch the car. It's not going to pitch the back end of the car. But the risk is if you turn in too shallow or you're carrying too much speed, you're going to go off wide on exit. So it is, for me, it's trying to turn in slightly later, but it is a rhythm thing. This is one that's like, yeah, I'm probably going to get a time penalty here on Thursday. But yeah, hopefully use a little bit of the inside curbing. I'll start, after I hit the apex, I hit the curbing, I might roll back into the throttle a little bit just to give it a little bit of throttle, but I'm not going to commit fully to getting back to full throttle until I've got the car out here on the left side. Ideally, if I've done it right, I might just drop the tires off on the outside curbing a little bit. There's a little bit of noise. It's not too bad where it's going to totally upset the car. Because hopefully at that point, if you're hitting it, you're parallel, your wheel is straight, and then you roll it back into the throttle. So getting on that curbing at that point is not going to hurt you too much. If you do find out you're going to go wide, one of the things I might suggest is if you go wide, just stay wide, and then just try to figure out how to merge back onto the course. Actually, what I would do is I'd use a little bit of this grass, aim for the next green to actually use that to get back on. Um, my theory is with track limits that if you do that and maybe you feather the throttle a little bit, the grass will help slow the car down so that you're kind of going to give back uh, whatever time the game's assuming you've gained if you've cut the inside of the turn one. So it might help minimize the amount of penalty you get if you get a penalty at all. It also makes you a little bit more predictable getting back on track in case you're in traffic. At least it gives us an idea of like, oh, you're going to be coming back on right about in here, give a little more room heading down to the next turn. So we'll see how that works in the race. I've done it once or twice in slower cars and it seems to work. We'll see how it works in this car. But now coming down to the next, I guess, I don't know if this is turn two, turn three. I didn't look at a track map. I don't know what the turn numbers or turn names are. But heading on this next turn, again, I'm going to be braking right about just as I'm getting to, where the green access road here is. Looking at other things. Nope, not that controller. Nope, no, I had it right the first time. Yep, had to get the right controller. Again, looking for static references here. You're going to be braking just as you're getting past the orange barrier there on the left side. Again, I'm using, where the access road kind of meets the track. It's painted green. It's easy to see. Just as I'm getting to that is where I'm going to brake for this next turn. For me, this is second gear, and this is where I think a lot of the faster cars, especially a lot of the looser cars, when I make this turn in, I'm not going to follow the suggested line out. I'm actually going to, it's almost a double apex. I'll apex it there first. The second apex, or I'm going to aim for, is if I really commit to it, I'm going to be, pretty much parallel with the white line, right where the green access road joins the track on the right side, because I'm trying to open this next corner up as much as possible. I think the suggested line, you'd actually carry a bit of speed out to the almost, I don't want to say past center line, but more cheating to the left, and then kind of hug the curving out, or hug that inside line through this next corner. For this car, just the way the back end is on it, and especially with the curbing here, well, the apex of this next corner is pretty bumpy. So I'm going to open it up. Hopefully, if I do it right, I'm going to go full throttle. I'll probably kiss the inside of the curbing here, and the car is going to, it'll hit a bump. But the whole idea is to open this up so that I can be full throttle all the way out. I might get on the curbing here on the right side as I straighten the car out. But the whole idea is just to open that up so I can carry as much speed. So I'm compromising, you know, that hard right hand turn. I'm going to compromise a little bit of the exit there to give me a better run through the next corner so I can carry that speed all the way down to the hairpin. It'll probably happen during the mock race. If you take the traditional line or what the game's showing you of how far inside you want to be, you got to be very careful what hitting the curbing on the inside of the previous corner, you know, back there. Um, if you get too much of the curbing, you've got too much steering in, you're full throttle, the back end of the car is going to buck and it's going to unsettle. Then it's going to shoot you across. It's going to shoot you wide here. And then this curbing is pretty noisy as well. And if you're hitting it and you're still trying to turn the car to recover, it'll slow you down heading down to the hairpin. Again, this is a perfect place, in traffic or like that to look for crossovers. So if someone's extreme left heading into that corner, you're taking the slightly wider entry, you might look for the crossover on exit heading down towards the hairpin. So enough about that. Let's get down to the hairpin. So fifth gear, full throttle. I'll probably just hold the inside line here all the way down, keep it to the left. Braking for the hairpin is pretty much right where the curving starts. So when you see curving, brake. Very easy to not brake enough and go straight wide. I think for me, initial couple of laps, I'm probably going to keep it straight as much as possible and then release and turn in. As I get more comfortable, I might do my initial braking straight, then I might lift it a little bit and start to trail brake it in a little bit, bring the car across. But ultimately, what I'm trying to do, if I do it right, is second gear. I don't want to lose sight of that inside curbing at all. I want to keep that on screen. So that's where, that's kind of, you're talking about reference point. I don't want to lose track of that curbing. I think ideally a late apex is probably will work best, but if I do this, it's probably going to be a standard, hairpin wide in, hit the apex. Same thing here. I'm really not going to roll back in or commit to full throttle until I've got the car pointed straight down the track for the next corner. Again, second gear, I would recommend. I would not recommend doing it in first because it's too easy to spin the back tires up. You might try it in third, but I think second will work best. So heading down the next corner here, third, fourth. Oh, pardon me, didn't get enough sleep last night. So heading down here, usually I'm using the outside curb here as a reference. First couple of laps, I'm probably going to give myself wiggle room, but actually, as I get comfortable, I'm going to cheat the car out as much as I can. And it's almost like hitting the curbing on the outside is kind of my signal to turn in. So fourth gear at this point. So I'll probably shift it up. I think fourth gear at this point, shift it up to fifth. You can use a lot of this inside curbing. Not a lot of noise on that curb. It's pretty flat. Bring the car all the way out. With this car, with the speed that we're carrying, usually in trying to gauge the curbing, it's braking for the next corner is as, at least based off what my view here is, as the left side curbing exits view and just before you get to the end of the curbing on the right side. So you're going to be braking somewhere around here. At least I'm going to be braking somewhere around here. Downshift, downshift, downshift. Now we get into choices. This will be up to you. I think ideally for myself on my own, if I get my braking right, I would probably prefer to stay in third gear through here, through this first part of the corner. Um, you might find second works better. Again, it's that whole, heels or toes. If you put it in second, the car's going to have a little more turn in, a little more point on turn in. But you do need to be careful. So let's put it in first so I can get going. You can use a bit of this inside curving, but much like turn one, this one's actually got a pretty, if you use too much, it's got a pretty serious bump to it. So we'll pitch the back end of the car out. So as you're trying to roll back and throttle, as you pass the apex, if you hit the bump as you're trying to roll back into the throttle and you still got steering in, you'll spin up the rear tires, the back end's going to kick out. It'll slide. Totally catchable if you know to expect it. So I might not use a lot of that inside curving if I can help it. Now, I think ideally for me, I will probably differ. The suggested line would want you to go all the way out to the right side and bring it back to the left, and then to set up for the next corner. I might I might take a later apex, square this previous corner up a little bit more, and take a shallower line to the next, to this next little clink before the right hander. So if I'm in second gear, I'll short shift to third. I'm going to bring it back a lot earlier so that I'm a little bit straighter here as I get to the curbing on the left side. As you get to the curbing, it is just a quick brush of the brake, just to scrub a little speed, get a little weight on the front tires, then roll the car in, let the car do the work. As you get to the inside apex here, start to roll back into the throttle. You can commit a little bit earlier than you think you can. Probably about halfway out, you may feel the back end. The rear tires will spin up just a little bit, and you'll feel the back end, slide out to the left a little bit. Not a problem. Kind of like that. Then heading down to the right-hander into the stadium section. Again, I always talk about playing chicken with the wall. So you can see how the wall, as you're following along the white line here, you can see the wall will eventually kind of jut out and meet the white line. So that's kind of the reference point that I'm targeting as far as where I'm going to brake and turn in for the next corner. So just as I get to where that wall, right about here, is where I'm going to get on the brakes. And it is a timing thing, and this is where I'm still trying to work this out. This could be third gear, this could be fourth gear. Up to you. It depends on how you get your braking done. But it's brake, 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 brake. Maybe starting to turn the car a little bit. I'm trying to get my braking done, and I'm going to release it as I get past I'm guessing they're whatever these speaker things are or screens. I just see, tower with black things on it. So that's where I'm going to, as that's going out of view, that's where I'm releasing the brake and then committing the car into the corner. again, my tendency, because I tend to carry a lot of speed into the corner, more often than not, the front end's going to push just a little bit because I'm carrying too much speed. The front tires, I've just got to be patient with it. The front tires will grip up and the car will turn back in. At that point, then I can start, I'm going to try to aim late, maybe use a bit of this inside curving and get back on the throttle. Third gear, fourth gear through there, up to you. I'll definitely shift up to fourth. Heading down to the next corner, I think I'll shift up to fourth. But just so I get to the end of the tires on the right side is when I'm going to drop it down to third. Yeah, I'll be in fourth gear. Down to third, and on my own, probably down to third. If you're in traffic, it might be better to put it in second. And this is just a nice little double apex corner. There, bring it out a little bit. Second apex late, roll back into the throttle, short shift to third, little lift to get the car here. You can use a bit of the inside curving there. The reason I do the little bit of lift is if you try to go full throttle through that little left-handed kink, it may push you, it may understeer the car to where then you're going to go off track here. And it's a weird thing. It's usually, so I do a little confidence lift to help make sure I get the car through here, third gear. And oops, let me rewind, not rewind, let me reverse that a little bit. And the other reason too is setting up for this last set of corners, and it's a rhythm thing, is in third gear, the braking here, I'm going to start braking for the next corner just as I'm reaching the edge of, just as this access road on the right side meets the track, just as it's about to go completely out of view, is about where I'm looking, to brake for the last set of corners. Still third gear. Still haven't gotten this completely consistent. Sometimes I might go way wide. I think ideally I do want to follow what the line is suggesting here a little bit better. But third gear, try to get it to the apex if you can. Let the car come out, cross over the curb a little bit, lift the throttle, get the car turned in, start to roll back into the throttle as you get to the apex, full throttle on exit. And that's a lap of Hockenheim. So that's a slow track guide there. So let's finish that. Let's get into the race and let's actually see if what I just talked about is actually accurate. Because yeah, again, things look different at speed. Let's go ahead and finish the test drive. And so I don't know. It looks like, again, anytime I do the track guides, I'm always kind of assuming that these short double race Thursday nights, that Matt's aiming for about, not more than 35 minutes for a race. But it just, in looking at these last couple of weeks, it looks like he's actually like chopped 10 minutes off. So I don't know if that was intentional or not. Again, I'm not running the series. I'm just driving. But what I'm going to do is I think when I was doing my own test laps, I thought the calculation came out to about 22 laps. I'm actually going to run 20. It wouldn't surprise me if we're doing like 18, but we'll keep an eye on the clock and see where that 25-minute mark is. He might just be, just from an organizational standpoint, it might be that he's aiming for more of a 30-minute race than a 35. So with that, let's go ahead and start. So if you're new here, again, for my own practice, I usually run a mock race to try and simulate. If it's a sprint race, it'll simulate about the race length. If it's our enduro races, then it's about half distance. So I'm going to run against a full field of drive tires. Starting up front is the 70s Formula One cars. In this class, I'm definitely quicker than them. About 30 seconds back, we've got the Forza P2 division, and I think I'll be a little quicker. This track, I might be giving up too much top end, but we'll see how it balances out. I'll be starting about 58 seconds, and then just to give me some defensive driving practice, starting 2 seconds behind me is going to be the Forza P1 cars, which looks like I've got two Audis and a Peugeot. The past couple of seasons, trying to work or race the Peugeots is hazardous. So again, questionable racecraft, but let's see how we do. We do run mandatory quick stops, so I'll probably be doing something. I'll probably just split into just two, take it about the end of lap 10. All right, down, Yeah, cold tires. It's going to push a little bit more on the first half of this lap. And again, because I can take a wider entry for that corner, if you do hit that inside curbing, in theory, since I'm not, since I don't have as much steering in on the wheel, there's less likely that the back end's going to kick out. Still could happen, depends how hard I hit that curb. The first couple of laps, I might be a little conservative on how quickly I get back the throttle until I get used to what the car is going to do. A little wide. Right there. I guess you could wind it out in fourth, but I don't like that. This wasn't comfortable. Still hadn't fully unwound the wheel when I went to full throttle, so the back end started to kick out to the left. A little late. I think I got to the brakes a little earlier than I had previously. There's a little bit of oversteer you'll get out of that corner. Keep it in third. Oh, a little oversteery. Seems the driver tires, or the Forza P1 driver tires, are having a little problem navigating turn one as well. Because they all went off. One of the rare times I'm turning the wheel more than 90 degrees. Yeah, I still like the short shift out of there. They stayed on track this time. So that's the risk of the Uber inside line, and I purposely took a bit more curving just to see if I could get the back end to kick out. So just be careful there. Thought the P1 cars would give me a little bit more of a fight early on, but they start fighting each other back there. I'm fine with that. Okay, this is where things get interesting. Well, not interesting. I just don't know what, when you spend the first couple of laps, essentially hot lapping, I've got to be a little bit more patient since I don't quite know what the driver tires are going to do in front of me. Push, 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 push. They're going to be really slow out of here, so I'm going to back off a little bit. Am I going to do it? Yeah, I'm going to do it. Oh, yep, I took a look. I'll have the run down here. I wasn't sure. I was one of those, like, I was thinking going to go left, and I'm like, okay, that's right about the time that the AI would take the natural line back across. So that was bad decision making on my part. Gap was probably there, but I'm not going to get anything there, so I'm just going to back off a little bit, see if I can get something heading into. Going to take a look. No, it's not there. See if we can get a run. So turn one is always a risky place to try and pass into the corner. You really need to be, you're not going to outbrake somebody into that corner. So your best bet is just to back off a little bit and time the run out. See if you can get a better run out and then get alongside and pass into the next corner. Safer pass. Oh, that's a little bit late. See how that inside curve kicks the back end out? But also, if you notice, I really didn't need to take my foot out of the throttle or do any huge adjustments. The car will come back in line. I just don't be surprised when that happens. Let me drag race. Giving room on the inside. A lot of times too, it's in you know, I'm already looking at the Porsche ahead of me, going, okay, where do I think I'm going to catch him? I'll At this point, I'll probably make the pass on him at the hairpin. I'll catch him here. I'll outbrake him, and in the next corner, I'm going to be right on his butt getting onto the backstretch. And again, that Penske Porsche is not fast in a straight line as long as I don't lose the back end. But I should be able to just draft off him a little bit, blow right by on the right side. So then the next car, probably catch that car by the stadium section. But I may not actually try, unless opportunity presents itself. Ooh, I might have a pass here. Nope, not close enough. So at this point, we'll see. I don't know how aggressive I'm going to be here. Okay, I got him here. So a lot of it is, you know, as far as figuring out passing it like that is just know if you know where you're quick, where you just kind of notice like where am I catching the car in front of me? Oh, they seem to be a little slow out of that corner, or I'm out accelerating. We've cleared the P2 traffic. So that's just the 70s F1 cars in front of me. Looks like that's either the Brabham or the Bronner Hawk in front of me there. Bronner Hawk. See if I can set up a questionable pass into turn one. Probably not. I don't think I'm close enough. Oh no, I'm close enough. All right, here's questionable pass into turn one. Maybe. So yeah, not ideal. And then it really just it slows you up enough where. Oh, gotta try not to hit you. Sorry. You know, it's that whole. It's tough to outbrake somebody in that corner. It's just better to back off and then try to get the run out. Now, if you're defending, you just park it on the apex a little bit and throw off the rhythm. But then you run the risk of getting run into like that. right, we're gonna pit this lap. Box. The pit in, apex there. I would have probably given a little more gas going in, but yeah, the Lotus in front of me was having a little bit of an issue. And I think I'm going, wow, I'm going, oh, I'm wondering, there's part of me that's like, am I going slower than I actually should be? Maybe it's just a perception thing, but uh, decent pit lane as far as time in, plenty of time to drink. Yeah, so the question is, where does it release us and what gear am I in? First gear, wow. So yeah, just be careful. It's going to release you in first gear. So just immediately put it in the second before you get to full throttle. And then as you saw, I just stayed to the right until I got out past the blend line. And then we're back on the racing line. And immediately pitched the car sideways. A little bit of draft. We've got a draft on the... Wow, we're faster than the Mazda diesel there in front of us. Oh no, that's the Nissan. No, that is the Mazda. 3 wide, no. Less talk, more driving. Less accident. Yeah, that I'm going to put that one on me. It's like I should have not tried to force that. But this is why you practice. I look outside, but I know he's got to come back across, so I don't try to force that there. That's a tough place to outbrake somebody into unless you've got a monster run out of the previous corner. Oh. So I'm going to look. Unless I get a monster run out of here where I'm alongside at braking, I'll probably back off just a little bit and see if I can get a run to the next corner. There we go. Get a little bit harder on the brakes since I'm on the inside. And nice draft on the Brabham. Hit the Brabham. Have a Lotus in front of me. Excuse me. This car's so much fun to drive. I would say for the P1 cars, I have no idea where they're at. Assuming, we'll see if they show up on the map here ahead of me. Yeah, they're still out. So, from a race strategy standpoint, if the P1 cars, their only hope is to stay out, clear the traffic, run a couple of fast laps and see if they can do the overcut. Ooh, that was bad at the first. Again, Can't talk and drive. Okay, wait and get the run out. Okay, so at this point in the lap on that Bronner Hawk, unless I get a mega run out of the last corner, I'm probably not going to pass him until turn 2. I got the mega run, so there you go. That could have been a little bit. Could have been a little bit better. That's late. Yeah, if you find that you missed the braking and you're going to be late on the turn in for the hairpin, just keep it wide and hope hope that that if someone's actually on your inside there, that they leave a little room on exit. But I'd imagine I wouldn't be surprised if we have some side to side contact there during the race. Going wide. A little too much on the inside there. That was me. I wanted to kind of test, like, how early can I commit to the throttle there? You can even see there on the outside curbing because I was still had a little bit of steering. Car kind of still hooked to the left a little bit. Yeah, he was just starting to move over just a little bit. I was hoping to be able to do that without having to, lift to get by him. Oh, this would be a bit of a dive bomb. A little bit. Oh, come on. That's right. Big turbo, big lag. Only 3 gears. Asking it to do something that it was not At least the Forza version of the car, I would say, was not set up for road racing. Okay, I'm in fourth, so either 3 laps to go. I would assume that just looking at the gaps of the 2 cars in front of me, the P1 cars still have to pit. So if I have any hope of being on the podium, I cannot let that gap get, well, it's going to get bigger. I just have to minimize how big it gets. Because I can't imagine. I mean, as far as I know, they haven't pitted. Two went in. I think I got them. By a healthy margin. Let's say it was what, about 25 seconds? Okay, so 26, Pumpkin is 26 seconds in front of me. I think as long as I can keep that under 35 seconds, I should be able to block the overcut. So yeah, I haven't seen. I don't think Matt's updated the spreadsheet as far as to give us a lap count, but yeah, I wouldn't surprise me if it comes up like 17 laps, because that would be about the race length he was running, 16 to 17 laps. And for this Thursday, that might not be a bad idea, just to give us, because the Nordschleife is such a much more difficult track to figure out race time. Because I'm guessing the Nordschleife is going to be about 5 laps. It might 4 to 5 laps. 4 laps would probably put about a 24 to 25-minute race. I'm hoping it's 5 laps. The only other question I would have is does the 15 to 25-minute rule really apply there? Because the lap is so long. We're all going to pit on the same lap. All right, last lap. Let's see what we can do. Phew. So that is, all right, so 20 laps came out to what on the race timer? 33 minutes. Yeah, again, if we're gonna, if Matt's aiming for that 26 to 27 minute, it'll probably be a few laps less, knock a couple laps off of that. So, but that is Hockenheim in the Formula, in the Ferrari 312. Again, I've said it on the previous, track guides, the 70s F1 cars are some of my favorite cars to drive in Forza, just as far as the handling. Again, it's like they have downforce, but not a huge amount. They have mechanical grip, but not a huge amount. You can kind of chuck them around a little bit. Anytime that the back end steps out, it is catchable. A lot of times you don't even have to take your foot out of the throttle. So, but that's kind of what to expect there. But we'll see what the lap counts come out to be. Again, I would not be surprised if this race is a few laps shorter, mainly to help with the lap count for the Nordschleife, since that's anywhere between a six 18, I think, for the fastest guys, maybe closer to I don't want to say 7 minutes for the slower guys. I don't know what bucket one times will be, but it's like, but you're looking at about a 6.5 minute lap there in the Nordschleife. So anyhow, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to take a slight break, and then we'll do the track guide for the Nordschleife. So hope you guys are having a good weekend so far. Talk to you soon. Happy racing.